make investment, of course, you and I, we must invest in Ghana and not necessarily concentrate on foreigners all the time. Most of the time when you talk about investing in Ghana, of course, we turn our attention to foreigners and what is conducive in the country, but it's also very conducive for Ghanaians as well. So we'll be speaking to Mrs. Mawina Treba, who is the Chief Executive of the Ghana Investment Promotion Center. She's here with us, but before then, let's look at the story filed by Jason.
The Ghana Investment Promotion Company is a government agency under the GIPC Act 2013, established with the sole purpose of attracting investments. Over the years, various sectors have recorded significant growth as both local and foreign direct investments trickle in.
We choose Ghana because it's a growing economy. Also, the construction projects they are starting, and paints are related to construction, of course. Also, is a stable from the political point of view. We don't have many things to say about political of Ghana.
Investors are offered various incentives, including tax exemptions, in order to encourage more investments. But some investors argue that governments must reconsider certain tax allocations as well as macroeconomic indicators of the country.
There's not a lot of benefits for a new company. The only thing that we had is the production equipment. We had it without taxes. That is a very good thing. I think the government or the institution of Ghana should differentiate the companies who produce here, exemption of taxes from raw materials and something, and differentiate from the people who import. They don't create added value to the companies. Then they don't create jobs like you can do. You can see the people working in the production.
We want to see some credibility in terms of the way government does business, and I'm talking about oil and gas sector. Sometimes you feel that the regulators are bullying you. You want to see them. When we say petroleum pricing formula, it has to be obeyed so that there will be credibility in terms of what is it that we all want to see.
Cost of production is also said to account for some losses incurred by investors. Delays in the court system sometimes impede the growth of some sectors.
Sometimes we have cases and the adjournment, and you wonder, the judge can give some flimsy excuse and the case is adjourned. I sometimes just get fed up with adjournment. And sometimes the questions that they even pose to you, I'm talking about the lawyers, when somebody is owing you, it's so harassing. So I think that, well, they are doing their work, but we have to get to a stage where we call a spade. We'll fine-tune the legal process, because it's a major challenge for even the foreign investors.
Despite these challenges, investments coming into Ghana continue to grow. 56 new projects were registered between July and September 2014, with initial capital transfers of over 100 million cedis.
And that story was filed by Jason Amo. And of course, as I told you earlier, we have the Chief Executive of the GIPC with us this morning. It's good to have you in our studio. You actually look good, with the orange on the background.
Thanks be to God. Thank you so much.
Happy New Year to you.
Same to you, Nana.
Okay.
God's blessings for the new year.
Definitely. Okay, so you saw that story.
Yes.
What's your initial thought?
Well, I think there's no question that the importance of investment can't be overlooked when you're looking at development. But I think what is more important is to appreciate where Ghana is now from an economic standpoint. We've achieved middle income status. We'd like to progress to upper middle income status. So there are a lot of dynamics that have changed over the last 2 decades, let's say. What pertained previously in terms of investment and what was appropriate in terms of promoting Ghana as an investment destination has had to shift to accommodate the new economic terrain and what we're seeking to achieve as a country in the medium to long term. So I noted that some of the comments were really around the incentives regime, supporting the investor to get through some of the challenges they often have in terms of understanding the legislative and regulatory environment, and that's what we're here for. And I guess that's why we're keen to re-engage more intently with the Ghanaian business community, so that it's known that we're there to support them through the process and help them to understand all of the different elements of what it will take to continue to be successful investing here.
Okay, before we move on to talk about this campaign you're working on now, 2014 was a very difficult year for several businesses.
Yes.
How did it affect your work with foreign investors in this country? What were they saying to you?
Well, I mean, I think it was quite interesting because, as has often been said, a lot of the investors that are looking to come to Ghana, not just the international ones, but the ones even in country who are looking at new opportunities, are often focused on the medium to long-term investment climate. And there's no question in anybody's mind, I think, that not just our domestic reports, but the international reports have verified that this really is a great place to look at those medium to long-term opportunities. So in truth, we continued to see very intense interest in investing in Ghana. You'll recall that through 2014 we had back-to-back business delegations, and I'm talking about major business delegations from across the globe coming into the country, literally one after the other, wanting to meet with the domestic business community. And that was a very big thing for us. So our interactions and relationships with the Ghanaian business associations was very important. And so, yes, indeed, there's no question that there were significant challenges, access to utilities. We had a new act that was now being implemented, and creating that understanding about the new legislation and its implications for investing. Those were very big ticket items for us. But at the same time, because Ghana has positioned itself successfully as this hub of access into the rest of the sub-region, that's in excess of 350 million consumers, our goal is to now look at how we can support the domestic business community to be ready to embrace the partnerships that are coming with all of this interest in investing in Ghana.
And are they ready?
I think they are. I mean, I think, Nanaba, one of the things we've tried to do as an investment promotion center is to showcase corporate excellence that's grown in Ghana. That's what the Ghana Club 100, for instance, is about. And it's really important that we explain to the international business community, again, their mindset has had to change. We're no longer a country that needs every kind of investment. We need strategic investments. And there are really exceptional Ghanaian entrepreneurs who've built businesses from scratch, who have the capability. It is true that in our SME space, there's much more we can be doing in terms of building the capacity so that there's equity when the discussions are going on and the partnership conversations are taking place. But there's no question in my mind that we can support the private sector to build that capacity in a relatively short period of time, and that's a big agenda for us at GIPC this year.
Okay. Now, when you speak to people who have ideas in Ghana, you talked about the SMEs, and that is a very big concern for me. Partnership is such a difficult thing for two people or three companies to come together and build a very viable business, because of course in our cultural setting you want to own it for your family, for yourself, and not necessarily bringing other people. What strategy are you taking at the GIPC to encourage people to go into viable partnerships?
Fortunately, there's something about the entrepreneurial mindset that will cause any business person, whether they're Ghanaian or non-Ghanaian, to see an opportunity and want to pursue it. It is true that culturally, from a business perspective, Ghanaians tend to want to manage and run their own business. I founded the company. I'm also chairman of the company. But those governance structures will not work if you're seeking to take your company to the next level. And there are excellent examples of Ghanaians who have excelled in bringing on partnerships. I think one of the things we'll have to do more efficiently as an investment promotion center is to support the SME community to understand that there are such things as exit strategies. So it's not a lifetime of a partnership. Our hope is that we play the role of those who organize dates, blind dates, and you get to meet a potential partner and take an informed decision. What structures do they have within their organization? What HR policies do they have? Are their accounting practices solid? Are their governance structures solid? Those are things that we have to spend time with the SME business community, and I'm very excited to say this year there are quite a number of collaborations we have coming on stream targeting the entrepreneurial business community. I keep emphasizing them because they're it's quite a different sort of mindset, and it's more open to the potential for partnership, but at the same time ensuring that those partnerships actually translate into development for Ghana in the long term.
Now, you're focusing on the domestic investor. It's quite a shift from what we know the GIPC to be doing. Why this? I mean, why are you targeting? Why do you want to focus more on the domestic investor now?
Well, I mean, first of all, there's no question that the most authentic ambassadors are business people themselves, and it is the Ghanaian businessman, the Ghanaian businesswoman who will be far more believable than an investment promotion official. We do our best, we're quite professional in what we do, but when it comes to the nitty-gritty, the real-time experiences, it is the Ghanaian business community that will speak to it. That is why whenever there are investment forums, you always see business people meeting with business people. What we're trying to do is ensure that we strike the right balance between the need to attract a foreign direct investment, but the need to grow the domestic business community. And as I said, it is unfortunate that we have not done as much as we perhaps could in showcasing corporate excellence in Ghana, ensuring that we bring the best of class to the table. And so it's really important that we reach out today so that we can strike the right balance. In the end, inevitably, it's about Ghana. And it's about sustaining investments that will translate into development. We need the investment community, both domestic and international, to be profitable. That's why we say that we are the prosperity partner for the business community. That's how we positioned ourselves. But we need to ensure that those investments translate into development. What jobs will it create? What other training and skills development will be created as a result of those investments? Those are some of the other things that we have to look at. And it is those partnerships that really consolidate those opportunities.
Okay, and so what kind of strategy are you using?
Well, we have a very big campaign that we're promoting. It's called Think Ghana, Make It Happen. I think our reality is that there are many challenges that the business community will face in coming into a new terrain like Africa. But in speaking to the international audiences, we want them to know that, yes, if you're thinking about the African continent, think about Ghana first. And if you're thinking about Ghana, think about partnerships, because that's where the real opportunities are to speed up and create more efficiencies in your investment. For the domestic business community, we're saying that think Ghana. Think about the context of the reality that you understand this terrain better than anybody else. You know what the challenges are. You know what the networks are in order to get things done. We want to be there to support you so that as you're thinking about Ghana, in spite of the challenges, you can still make it happen. And so, again, it's really focusing on partnerships that will create profitability and development, not one without the other. And that's why we've shifted in this direction. And we really are looking forward to some of the collaborations we're anticipating.
And are you getting positive feedback so far?
Well, absolutely. I mean, I've been quite astounded. I always like to deal with perceptual issues because a perception for me is a reality for somebody else. The reality is that for many people in the Ghanaian business community, they have not known about this broad suite of services that are available to the Ghanaian business community just as they are to the international business community. So we've got to change that. We've got to engage. We've got to ensure that we're communicating to them that incentives and guarantees are actually embedded in some of our existing legislation. And we have officials who will be there to walk you through the process so that you know that there's more that you can attain. We're very interested in companies that are reinvesting, that are creating more jobs, and working closely with our sister institutions, with the various ministries to support them to speed up those kinds of investments. That's certainly something we will do. Off of the back of that, it's also important to be able to say for the Ghanaian business community, you've got to have your ducks in a row and have an optimistic view that we can really execute partnerships that are meaningful in the long term. So I've been quite pleased, quite excited. I know the feedback I'm getting from the rest of my team is that, look, people are really excited about this. We'll be soliciting more and more projects, more investment opportunities from the domestic business community. We're looking forward to a big forum in Ghana, inviting the rest of the world to come in real time and experience what it means to look at very specific projects. So it's not just, oh, come and invest in Ghana, but we've got project profiles of very specific opportunities for people to partner. So we're quite excited about it.
So people can just get up and walk into your office and get more information about this campaign?
Absolutely. I mean, we're going to be airing a documentary first of its kind. We're really proud of it because it's a documentary that was produced in Ghana, and I think many Ghanaians will be surprised at the quality of the experiences that people are having. But over and above that, you can visit the website. We'll be soliciting for more information. So it's a year-long campaign to draw the domestic business community into packaging and profiling investment opportunities. So we've got, fortunately, a number of internal restructuring initiatives we executed in 2014. So we've got schedule officers who are responsible for specific sectors. So they really understand what you're looking for. If you're in agriculture, agro-processing, we've got an investor services official. We've also got a research official. So they'll be able to work with you through all of the different elements, who you need to engage with, what does the legislation say, what are the implications, who do I need to meet with. All of those services, they're what we call Aquaba services. And I've been saying that we want to take away the red tape and roll out the red carpet so that the business person has an experience that lets them take an informed decision that, look, there will be support to execute this process. And I think, Nanaba, the proof is in the pudding. We're very proud of the fact that we've just been noted by the World Bank as number one for ease of doing business. And I think a lot of that credit has to go, one, to the domestic business community, but I'd like to say also to the team at GIPC for working very hard to offer new services. And that's something we want to ensure the Ghanaian business community can access.
Yeah, that's a very important point, because in the past, you would hear countries being, catalogued as, the countries that have a very easy way of doing business. The business processes are quite friendly, and you would hardly hear Ghana's name coming up. But in the last decade or so, you find Ghana climbing up, and it's quite impressive. It's actually very good news when you're a Ghanaian. You sit back and you hear all those positive stories.
But we want Ghanaians to experience it as well.
Exactly.
That's where the gap has been, and it's good to embrace the feedback, and this is one of the reasons why we're concentrating on this.
And what kind of role will you be expecting corporate Ghana to play in this campaign?
Well, I mean, I think there are a couple of things. As I said, first of all, we've got the cream of the crop of Ghanaian businesses. They've set certain standards and benchmarks, and we'll certainly be working closely with them to create those mentoring spaces for some of the smaller up-and-coming companies.
Mentoring, very important.
It's critical. It's actually fundamental to our success in this campaign, so that the companies that are growing and advancing can have some of that first-hand experience. What would it require to join Ghana Club 100 as a new entrant? You're going to have certain systems and structures in place. You've got to understand the difference between profits and revenues. You've got to appreciate what your obligations are, because those are the kinds of things that a potential partner would also be looking at. That's probably the first thing. I think the second strategy will be to ensure that we are consistent in the way we communicate. We have CEOs' breakfast meetings. We collaborate with various other institutions across the other sectors. There's something we call the Regional Sensitization Tour. That's going to be quite intense this year because of this campaign. But we go through every region and actively engage with the business communities there. We want to understand what projects they're working on.
No matter how small.
It doesn't matter how small it is. I mean, Nanaba, I have been blown away by some of the projects, some of the investments that Ghanaian entrepreneurs have pursued in our regions. There's one I'd like to highlight, a company called MJAV. They are packaging smoked fish. And the quality of the packaging, the quality of the product, I'm just completely amazed. So there's fantastic potential there, because Ghanaians are not the only ones who eat smoked fish. There's another woman in the Volta region, I think. When you see the packaging of her rice, you'll swear that it was packaged by Sainsbury or some foreign company, but it's done in Ghana. And it's really important that we support these kinds of entrepreneurs to build their capacity, so that we move away from importing goods and services and really start to support them. But if we don't know about them and we can't help them to build their capacity and help them to access the services that will make it quick and easy for them to invest, then we'll have those challenges that have sometimes given us some issues economically. So I'm quite excited, and I'm quite pleased that everybody's on board to this. Everybody it doesn't matter your political dispensation. Everybody wants to see investments that will translate into development. So I'm quite confident about the support.
Okay, and how about the mindset of the patrons themselves? Because you find people would, even if it's a sheet of paper, once this is made in Ghana and that one was made in China,
Yes.
there's a preference for the one from China, even though it could be of very inferior quality. How do you change the mindset of the people to believe in made in Ghana products?
No, but let me use a very simple example. I'm a mother. I have a 3-year-old. She likes plantain chips. She likes Pringles. But the reality is that as a mother, I'm going to want to invest in a product that I think is safe, that's packaged appropriately. If I find plantain chips that are properly packaged, I'm going to go for that. Why? Because I have been able to ascertain that it's a quality product and it's value for money. So the Made in Ghana campaign is going to have to be hinged around that. What quality products do we have in Ghana? And are they value for money? Everybody will buy into that concept because it protects their financial interests, but it also meets their personal expectations. Over and above that, you can then get into the patriotic element. And when you patronize a Made in Ghana product, you're also creating a job in the country. So for us at GIPC, our goal is to ensure that we are showcasing, as I said, quality, excellence. And this is actually less expensive than this imported product.
Right.
And that's the exciting element. Then we add on, and by the way, when you support and you purchase a Made in Ghana product, you're also creating and sustaining a job at home. So we've got to be, in our view, very practical about how we convince and change the mindset. And the mindset will change because this is a value product. It can compete internationally. And it's also value for money. It's less expensive, so it's good for my pocket. That's the strategy that I think inevitably will be successful. So it'll be much more than just the jingles. And there are a number of organizations and actually private sector people who started doing that. They're working closely with the Standards Authority, certified Ghanaian products and services. So obviously what we do to showcase that will have to be more than just the jingles and putting the nice stories out there, but letting Ghanaians have the experience. Obviously, there are other very specific things that are going to be rolled out in respect of the Made in Ghana campaign, but I think for me, one of my big ticket items is to make sure that everything I wear is made in Ghana. I myself am made in Ghana, so it's a good undertaking.
All right. So how long is this campaign running? Think Ghana, make it happen.
The Think Ghana, Make It Happen is all year.
All year.
It's all year. We obviously promote Ghana internationally when we go on investment missions. But as I said, a lot of focus is going to be on the domestic business community. We want to test ourselves as an investment promotion center. At the beginning of the year, we're starting to create the awareness about the opportunities to provide services to the business community. So we deal with the notion that we're only interested in FDIs. FDIs are only good insofar as they create the development in country. And we need the partnership and support of the business community. So quarter on quarter, we'll be testing that awareness. We'll be tracking how many more Ghanaian enterprises engage with us and how we're able to progress so that at the end of the year, we have something substantive to say, that these are the number of partnerships that have been created as a result of these capacity building initiatives, as a result of thinking about Ghana and making it happen.
Okay. Now, I'm just running out of time, but before we go, I just want you to talk about the trend so far for FDIs. 2014 and then 2013. I mean, then you can project into 2015.
Well, we'll be rounding up on our reconciliation for the last quarter, but in 2013 we ended at about 3.6 billion US dollars on FDIs. Obviously, 2014 has been a bit more challenging, but at the end of quarter three we were somewhere in the order of magnitude of about 1.6 billion US dollars. I mean, I think what always happens is that the last quarter of the year is the year that sells you. It's the quarter that sells you, sorry. And so I'm anticipating quite a lot more coming on stream. I think what is more important, I emphasize this a lot, is not just to look at the FDI figures in and of themselves, but the domestic component, as well as what came from outside of the country. What does that actually mean in terms of translating into jobs? And do we understand also that when we quote FDI figures, these are for investments that are to be rolled out over a period. And so phase by phase, we need to be tracking the progress of the investment. So we're very careful now as an investment promotion center to say that, yes, 3.6 billion, well, at the end of the third quarter of last year, we're around 1.69. Will we be able to make it? We also have to look at the quality of the investments. For us at GIPC, our big target for 2014 was obviously investments in the power sector. And so we would have to do an analysis, and that's probably for another show. The quality of the investments in the power sector, are they really going to bring on the 5,000 megawatts that we need? What other interventions? So a strategic view of those figures is very, very important. But I'm quite comfortable to say we're going to have to continue to excel. But again, it's really about those partnerships. And I'm really excited to see the business community in Ghana rising to the occasion. We want to do more of that. So we're looking forward to this year with anticipation.
Right. Thank you very much.